Dr. Fauci gave $3.7 million to the Wuhan laboratory. We paid for it. We paid for the damn virus that's killing us. Dr. Fauci gave $3.7 million to the Wuhan laboratory. We paid for it. We paid for the damn virus that's killing us.
Breaking news. Bill Gates negotiated a $100 billion track and trace program just 6 months before the pandemic. And Dr. Fauci has been directly linked to the funding of the Wuhan lab. Big breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We can now report that Bill Gates was the main private sector sponsor for HR 6666, a government program worth $100 billion. That's more than Bill Gates is worth right now. And that's just one program. Imagine how much money they're going to make from all of these vaccines. Imagine what the industry stands to make from all of these treatment options coming your way. Trillions and trillions of dollars you can't even imagine. We know that Bill Gates is a mega benefactor from vaccine sales. And so just like the Microsoft days, Bill Gates will be making the virus, and he'll be making the money selling the antivirus or the vaccine. This truly is disturbing. And as you heard in the intro, we paid for this virus. We paid for the gain of function research for coronavirus at the Wuhan lab. The release wasn't accidental, and neither was the policy to just let this virus in and make sure that it infects everyone before they even tried to lock anything down. So let's support our statements with some mainstream media clips, if we can, ladies and gentlemen.
Thing that gives you high confidence that it originated in that Wuhan lab?
Martha, there's enormous evidence that that's where this began. We've said from the beginning that this was a virus that originated in Wuhan, China. We took a lot of grief for that from the outset, but I think the whole world can see now. Remember, China has a history of infecting the world.
A man-made virus from the lab, cut with HIV and rabies. We'll be getting into that, ladies and gentlemen. But this was an artificial event.
And outside of this artificial event that took place 2 months ago, and I'm going to build the country into stronger and better than it was even then.
So their big idea was to make billions and trillions of dollars while being the heroes of the world. They wanted to be your saviors, ladies and gentlemen. It was the perfect plan until the independent media stepped in once again to tell you what was going on. And we started covering this outbreak in Wuhan back in mid-January. And for months, we were warning people this is coming. And for months, we watched them downplay the existence of this virus. And it was incredible to watch, ladies and gentlemen. But they knew.
We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We're in a live exercise here.
Oh, a live exercise, perhaps just like 9/11. Remember that? Where the exercise went live. But they knew about this outbreak back in November. Listen to this, if we can.
Did the Pentagon receive an intelligence assessment on COVID in China last November from the National Center for Medical Intelligence of DIA?
Oh, I can't recall.
Oh, he can't recall, but they were giving White House National Security Council briefings back in November around Thanksgiving. There was a full-blown outbreak of this drop-dead Wuhan supervirus circulating in November. Full-blown outbreak. White House security briefings about the outbreak back in November. They knew it was airborne. They knew it was HIV. They knew it was rabies. They knew it was worse than our worst nightmares. And yet, for months, they were telling people, oh, you don't need a mask. Just wash your hands with an airborne virus. And still today, in many countries, people can't find, the proper equipment to protect themselves. These N95 masks don't even work against this bioweapon. And the idea was to infect everyone with this virus so that they could blackmail you with the vaccine, with, immunity papers and the like. But according to our reports, hundreds of millions of Americans were infected by March. And by the time they locked everything down, it was too late. And now here's the rest of the story. They're going to come by and test people that are for sure infected. And they're going to say that a certain percentage of their tests are positive. And they're going to tell you that they've got to shut things down. We must wait and be patient until the vaccine arrives. But their tests are only discovering what we know already. And that's hundreds of millions of people were infected in January and February and March. And it was obvious to everyone that this was coming. And this is why they were having national security briefings in November about this outbreak. So why did they lie? Well, as you can see, just track and trace is worth $100 billion for the first year. $100 billion. You think you could count that high? What's $100 billion worth? And that's just one program. Think of the trillions and trillions they're going to make from these vaccines and, emergency treatments for the critical cases. They're going to make trillions and trillions and trillions more while you're locked down slaving away for peanuts. And so, this is beyond criminal, ladies and gentlemen. And, anytime they use a bioweapon, whether it be in a theater of war or elsewhere, that's a war crime. That's a war crime, ladies and gentlemen, punishable by death. And so these people have everything to lose and everything to gain. They're all in. And they're all in it together like a bunch of Charlie Manson groupies. But have no doubt they infected everyone so that they could, sell you their vaccines and take away your rights so that they would be in a better position to survive the zombie apocalypse. And it's coming. The rabies portion of this virus is showing its ugly head. All they got to do is trigger people and it'll look like, it's natural anger. But it's really the rage, the rabies. And how convenient for this George Floyd case to come in and subsequent cases. Because, people were starting to connect the dots. We've got the receipt for the NIAID funding, Dr. Fauci's funding of coronavirus gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab, ladies and gentlemen. And so we've got the receipt for the murder weapon. And when people were starting to ask the right questions, all of a sudden here came the riots. And now it's pretty much all people talk about except for, the resurgence, the second wave, the new lockdowns, which are coming. And of course they're coming. So you better prepare, ladies and gentlemen, you better prepare for the winter of Project Zypher, of Event 201, of Event Dark Winter. We've listed a lot of interesting links in our video description on the ScrewTube page. If you're watching this on Fakebook, STFN Reloaded, be sure to check us out on the ScrewTube. You can find the listing there on our website, stfnreport.com, under the page name 5G Genocide right now. And look, everybody should be pretty disturbed by this latest round of eugenics. You thought the fluoride was bad. You thought the GMOs were bad. You thought the vaccines were bad. How about the death towers? You thought that might have been problematic? Oh no, here comes the goon squads. Look, they got silencers. Why do they need silencers on their weapons, ladies and gentlemen? And so they're going to be coming door to door. And if you don't take the vaccine, you're going to get yours. They'll dose you or juice you or exterminate you one way or the other. You can't opt out. It's just like these death towers. And you think of, 1776. I mean, they went to war over taxes. Essentially, no taxation without representation. How about no irradiation without representation? How about no vaccines without representation? We're no longer in a country for, of, and by the people. We're in a country for, of, and by the slavocracy. They've enslaved us all. We're in the matrix, Neo. Wake up, snap out of it. It's worse than you can possibly imagine. These eugenics programs are just fruits of the evil tree, this evil tree that has occupied our country, that has taken over, that has enslaved us and persecuted us. We've gone from the happy days, the Brady Bunch, to where we are today. And soon it's going to be a full-blown zombie riot out there. This is just the beginning of things to come. And so people need to prepare and recognize what we're up against. It's not just greedy people. It's hardcore, Luciferian evildoers. That's why it's HR 6666. It's why Bill Gates, hired Marina Abramovich. I mean, you've got the Luciferian fingerprints on everything they do. And, what makes it worse is that they have to tell you what they're going to do. They have to tell you that they're Luciferian, that they're devil worshippers. They have to tell you that they're going to exterminate you, and they have. And yet the sheeple are fighting each other over who's got the darkest tan. We've seen, black people lynch white people and the like. Why? They're not the ones enslaving you today. Maybe it was so 400 years ago. But the people enslaving you today are these big corporations, these politicians, these puppets on television, and their script-reading mainstream media propaganda channels. Those are the ones that have enslaved you now, and they've infected you, and they're irradiating you, and they're going to vaccinate you with their lethal injections. It's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen, like a George Carlin skit, if you will. It's only going to get worse, and so you better enjoy this last summer and start preparing for winter, because it's going to be more of the same, and it's, like we said, going to get much, much worse out there. And we want to talk a little bit about disease management, because they've been giving you all the wrong advice, ladies and gentlemen. And of course you should be wearing a mask to reduce your virus load. What we've learned from HIV is that virus load makes all the difference when it comes to symptoms. The more virus in your body, the worse the symptoms are, whether it be for HIV or COVID-19. So you want to reduce new exposures, and you want to reduce auto-infection by good hygiene and good waste management, because this will spread through fecal clouds and through odors of urine into your respiratory tract and infect you that way. But this virus, this disease, thrives on inflammation. Inflammation is its pathway from the lungs into a systemic infection. And so by reducing inflammation, whether it be organic volatile compounds, perfumes, bleach, hand sanitizer, anything that might irritate the lungs, will give you a better chance to survive. Fresh air, sunlight are key and crucial to managing this disease. And so, that's pretty much contrary to the advice that you've been given thus far. They're like, use the bleach, use the hand sanitizer, stay indoors, don't get that sunlight, don't get that fresh air. See what I mean? And, we can report quite a lot of success with natural detox. You can find a list of plants that detox and reduce inflammation in our video description. And it's kind of like the movie Contagion. The CDC's in on it, and the remedy is the natural plants, not the the chemicals that they'll be pushing on you, the drugs that they'll be pushing on you. They're drug dealers. It's essentially it. But plenty of sleep, sunlight, fresh air, and reducing inflammation. Baking soda works rather well as well, up to a couple of teaspoons, not tablespoons, but teaspoons per day. But reducing inflammation is key to keeping this disease at bay, as well as, reducing new forms of infection. And so it's just like HIV. Even if you're infected, that doesn't mean that you're immune or that you can't receive a new significant virus load that taxes your system some more. And if you want to survive this next wave, then you'll want to take this advice down and share it with everyone you know. And people living, together probably have it the worst, because this essentially is like an STD, and people will be reinfecting each other in their households, and they'll be peaking at different times. But everyone's become a biogenerator for this virus, and they can come by door to door and test as many people as they want. They're just going to tell us what we already know, that everyone's infected, and that they're going to keep getting reinfected. And we also know that their tests are only about 10% accurate. So 1 in 10 is going to test positive, even though they're all positive. See how that works? So they just got to test 100 people, and they'll say, oh, we found 10. We got to lock everything down. But truth be told, everyone has been infected by this virus. They knew about it months ahead of time. And the reason, that these people do what they do, again, is because these are evil fruits from an evil tree. This truly is the epic struggle of good versus evil. This is the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. And they're essentially trying to, unleash their beast system. You got the mark of the beast on the UPC symbols on everything you buy. And soon they're going to want you to get the chip. And they're going to want to brand you like Luciferian cattle, ladies and gentlemen. And so that operation is underway. They've admitted to being Luciferians on television, just about all of them. They've got their Georgia Guidestones. There's no other explanation for what you're seeing. The poison in the water, the poison in the foods, the poison in the air, the rise in autism, and the like, death towers everywhere. The only way all of that makes sense is if these are all evil fruits of the same evil tree. And that's what people need to understand. We're fighting against the devil and its army of darkness. And they've literally body snatched millions of people and are holding this entire country hostage. Countries like ours need to do more to fight back. And Christians in our country need to stand together and fight this fight for what it is. This is a war against evil. We wrestle not simply against flesh and blood, ladies and gentlemen, but against spiritual wickedness from heavenly places. Demons, fallen angels. They're here, and they're attacking us. And unless we understand the true nature of what we're up against, we'll never win this war. That's why we need to bring the Bible back into our schools. The only way to fight darkness is with light. The only way we're going to win this war is by properly educating every man, woman, and child in this country. And that education is the Bible. You take that out of people's lives and they turn into cities without walls, empty vessels waiting to be filled with the demonic, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going on out there. That's what we're up against. And that's why we need to take this country back. In the Declaration of Independence, which is a Christian document, it says, when government stands between you and the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, it is the right of the people to abolish this government. That's why there will be a boogaloo. That's why there will be a reset. And chances are, the country's going to split up into 3 or 4 different parts. Maybe 2 or 3. But in any case, the demons are going to grab the West Coast. Christians need a homeland for themselves. Christians need the heartland for themselves, and we need to relocate all of these Luciferians into their territory. We need a country that isn't polluted or compromised by Luciferian ideology. We hope you'll stand with us for a Christian homeland. Please like and share. Get this video out there everywhere. Feel free to mirror. Check out our website, stfnreport.com, our Facebook channel, STFN Reloaded, our Twitter Twister feed, Stranger Than Fiction News over there. So there you go, website, STFN Reloaded. And if you haven't grabbed yourselves an EMF 390, you better do so. Check that out on our website or on our Facebook page. You'll be glad you did. Radiation weakens the immune system, and everything you can do to boost your immune system will give you a better chance. So reduce your dosage. It's no joke. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.